Hey guys, it's Jenny Silver and Shelly's Millions.
And Shelly's Millions.
She's here. She's here. She's right next to me.
Live in person together.
Live in person. I can touch her.
we can high five, but that's probably loud on the microphone.
I missed.
Okay.
Okay, we are live doing California EDD Q+A, work history, documentation, etc. Q&A. For those of you who are not familiar with Shelly's Millions, which I feel like most of you are, Shelly's Millions on YouTube reports on similar type EDD, pandemic aid, financial topics. Please go subscribe to her channel. She's wonderful. Most of you guys know who she is already, but she came up to where I am, up from LA. We've spent the last couple of days to get yesterday.
And all day today, yes.
Like lost track. Yeah, so we've been working on things. We shot some pretty great brand photos for her earlier today, which I'm really excited to finish. We're working on her website, etc. So
Jenny is putting her full YouTube name, a business coach for creatives. I'm causing her to use that and help me along the way. I'm paying for that service. It's well worth it. So
yeah, it's been really fun. We had a really long dinner last night. Like, I feel like it was like a 2-hour dinner. I don't know. Out. Yeah. We've had a lot of long phone conversations. So it's been really good. It's been a lot of fun. So we're going to go ahead and jump into questions once I get my chat set up. Thank you, Hattie. Okay, let me get this on live. Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the questions. There it is. Okay, so this first one's going to be for Shelly. It's from Michelle. Is that you want to read or do I read?
I'll read it. It's actually addressed to you, but I'm familiar with the topic, and I'm actually using your claim as kind of a gauge to answer this question. And the question is, have you received any approval letter from the EDD on your work history documentation yet? And you have not, correct?
No. As of, I think I checked like 2 days ago. I have not.
And you sent yours in really early, right?
Yeah, I sent mine in. I forget what date it first came out. I believe it was approximately November 14th-ish. I made the video showing the process right as soon as that came out. So I sent mine in really early. I sent in 2 years of self-employed income taxes. I have a bookkeeper. Everything is like nailed down. So mine definitely should be approved. But the EDD has been making errors and also disqualifying those that should have been approved. So I have not heard back yet. Do you want to tell the feedback that we've been receiving?
Yes, I am getting, and so is Jenny, a lot of reports that people are getting antsy. So they're going ahead and they're calling in to the EDD. And when they get a hold of the reps are saying, I can see that it's been approved in the system. I don't know why you haven't received your letter. You may not ever receive a letter. That's what the reps are saying. But in the most recent EDD news release, they did mention that they are still going to be notifying people in writing. Of course, the EDD news releases haven't always been correct, but reps are telling people that they may not ever get a letter and to not worry as long as they don't see those payments switch to disqualified. And they're saying they can see it as approved on their side.
I just realized that I had never logged into the Wi-Fi here on my phone. Airbnb.
Do you need me to pull up the chat on mine?
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
We're not streaming live.
Okay.
But I'm just realizing I've been using data this whole time. Just a fun fact.
Money saving tip, because that's what I want to start talking about. Get an unlimited plan. It's probably worth it.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. All right, Michelle had a follow-up question. Do you think maybe some of us that submitted early will not receive any notice? There have been people that have been letting us know that when they call into customer service that they were supposed to receive notice and haven't, or that they just plain aren't mailing it. Just like Shelly covered. Jesse James, your profile. Jesse. Okay, Jesse says, hi, ladies. I'll be tuned in for the, thank you, Jesse. I appreciate that. Okay, Sana, is PUA coming back? Shelly, do you want to take it?
Not that I'm aware of. There's no plans to expand unemployment benefits for the self-employed at this time.
Okay, Paul at 8:57. Hello, Ginny and Shelly. I hope you were both able to do the live stream. We all do. Wishing you an awesome, fun, informative, and memorable live stream. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Paul.
Yes, we are live. We're in person.
We
We're on
are.
the same couch,
Yes.
the same Airbnb,
We are.
eating the same snacks.
It's true.
It's fun. Okay, Sana, thank you. I appreciate that. And we already answered your question. Paul, thank you. JC.
Oh, Paul, I think that's, I won't, no. What is this supposed to?
It is
Make a
random
picture?
emojis.
No. Okay.
Okay, JC. Hello, Jenny. Hello, Shelly. Hi, JC. Okay, Aiden at 9 o'clock. Hi, was proof of income requirement before or after the PUA extension? Okay, so proof of income versus proof of work history are two different requirements. The EDD back at wintertime required proof of income verification for PUA claimants, but not for all of them. They kind of picked and chose on that, and they required them to send in something that had an exact amount on it showing how much they earned. Some claimants underwent an overpayment process because it didn't line up with what was on their application. That happened back in winter, I believe, right immediately following the passing of the stimulus bill, I think, at December 27th. Following that, but also from the stimulus package past December 27th, was the requirement to provide work history verification, not necessarily showing your income amount, but proving that you did have self-employment if that's what you claimed you had. So such as a business license, because that would prove your work history, that you were a business, but it wouldn't prove your income amount. So those are two different requirements. So was that proof of income requirement before or after the extension? It came to my knowledge at the time of the stimulus bill. Does that sound right to you, Shelly?
Yeah, and then of course also even early on, if you wanted more than just the minimum $167 from PUA, you could submit proof of income in order to get a higher base weekly benefit amount.
Yeah. Debbie Hall. Hi, Debbie. Debbie, I saw you deleted one of your comments on one of our community pages. That was it was a rated R comment. All right, Clay, do you want to read this one?
Sure. I was on a regular UI claim March 2020 through July of 2020. I never got an interview because of the auto approving. I never reapplied. Will they likely still interview me? You know, I'm honestly not sure. They can. I would tend to think at this point in time that you're most likely in the clear, but if you already received your payments, if they ever had questions about it, potentially they could call you. But after this point in time, since you had a traditional unemployment claim, I would think that they are not going to. Did they give you a time? Do you have a reason to think that they want to interview you? Did you receive the payments successfully, or did they withhold them from you? A little bit of unknowns there. If you received your payments though, and they never mentioned anything about an interview, I would tend to think you'll be okay.
Yeah, if you're stuck in pending at any point in time, then that is most likely going to be an interview, and contact your assembly member if it's been longer than 2 weeks for conditional payments. Okay, Josie, good evening. Jimmy and Shelly, thank you, Josie. Toya, hello.
Oh, I always see her. Hello.
Thank you, Toya. Okay, Steffi, hello. SSAJ, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see. Hi, Jenny and Shelly. Great to see you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Karen. Hi, Karen. Oh, I lost it. There it is.
Karen, that is because part of the business services that Jenny Silver is providing for me is that she's doing headshots for like a website, and she's also using like her professional photography skills. And so that involved getting my makeup done professionally. I did not work this magic on my own. Somebody that used to moderate for Jenny came and did my makeup.
Yeah, if you guys are used to seeing Kat comment on my channel, right, replying back to you, she's my makeup artist. That's what she does professionally normally. So she came down and she glammed up Shelly earlier today.
Yes.
So this has lasted all day.
It has.
Okay, Debbie. Thank you, Debbie. Hello, John. Okay, Joseph. Hi, Shelly and Ginny. For 2021, I reported more income for covered California. And because I was on EDD, I only had to pay $1 for my premium being on EDD. Well, I have to pay that money back. So if you reported more income for covered California, but when did you report more income? Because that's going to change your premium amount depending on how much of an increase it is. I'm not sure what their cutoff numbers are for varying premiums. The $1 would have been because you were on unemployment. So if you were no longer on unemployment, then I do not believe that rate would apply for.
So
I would have to look that one up though to be certain.
Yeah,
you know?
it's going to depend. You also said that you reported more. So I know when I first applied for covered California, I had to guess, and then I actually underestimated. But if you reported more, so let's say you reported that you thought that you were going to be back to work and make $50,000, but then you made, so if you reported more income, which is how the question reads, then you probably would not owe anything back. But if you reported less, if you said, I don't think I'm going to make any money, I think I'm going to be on unemployment the whole time, and now you've gone back to work, but you've still only been paying that $1 for benefits, that's when you would owe the difference in the subsidy back, or potentially owe.
Okay, you had a better answer than me, more knowledge there.
I just recently looked at that because
good.
I do owe a little bit back for the difference.
I'm glad you knew that. Okay, so ham fam, this all makes sense. Okay, yeah. So if you are, make sure, number one, the majority of things that people are worrying about right now are this work history verification documentation. So number one, make sure that you have turned it in by the deadline. There are different deadlines dependent on when you received your notice and when you received your benefits. So check your own unique notice. Don't go by someone else's deadline. Make sure you turn in your documents on time. Number two, make sure you turn in all available documents that you have, and prioritize the ones that have passed through a government entity, such as tax returns, such as a business license, an EIN number, etc. I don't know what number I am next. Make sure that you have, if you're sending in an affidavit, if you're sending in something that you have written up like a business plan, that is the one that makes me the most nervous, that I want you to make sure that you send in lots of other documents as well, such as any deposits that you have, any receipts from, like, let's say you set up a website, you want to make sure that you document that as well. Try to get an affidavit from another customer or client, etc. So just try to make sure that you send in everything that you possibly can with that. SSAJ, is it true feds to forgive overpayment benefits? So do you want to do that one?
Yes, not necessarily. In order to forgive an overpayment, two conditions have to be met. One, the overpayment has to be, well, you would most likely first need to file an appeal. Then if they deny the appeal and you don't win your case there, then you would still need to apply for an overpayment waiver. And in order to have the overpayment waiver granted, two things would need to have happened. One, the overpayment needs to have been no fault of your own. And two, it would need to create a financial hardship for you to repay it. And they actually have a set dollar amount as to what that financial hardship would be. And the threshold is pretty low. I don't have that exact number.
I don't have the number either. It was reported from I don't remember if it was ABC, or it was a news organization that reached out and asked and obtained that number. But yeah, so I think that was thorough enough. All right, Ryan at 907. I received PUA benefits, but EDD wanted to verify my work permit, in which they said I'm not eligible. I appealed, but the judge said I'm not eligible. What should I do now? So once you go through the appeals process, if you disagree with the decision that the judge has made, you can appeal that decision, and the California Appeals Board will appeal that judge's decision, re-look at it and re-examine it. from the appeals board standpoint and see if they agree with the judge's decision. So you're going to have to file like a secondary appeal on this. Yeah, do you have something to add?
Well, I have a question to ask you. You've worked a lot with an attorney at Pershing Square law firm. This seems to me like would they be able to get involved with this case? So I don't know if your moderator has a link to him.
Yeah, Hattie can drop the link to Pershing Square Law Firm in the chat box now. They give a complimentary consultation. So even if you don't end up hiring them as an attorney to help you, which you could, but you can call in and you can get a free consultation with them where they will kind of explain and answer some basic questions over the phone with you. So that might be helpful for you to do. But you're going to appeal that decision. Now, will you actually win the appeal? They want to verify your work permit, said that you're not eligible. If you're not actually eligible to receive benefits, then most likely the appeal won't be overturned. But I don't have the knowledge to tell you whether or not you are entitled to those benefits if you don't have a qualified work permit.
Yeah. And even after the free consultation with Pershing Square, even if they decide, they will kind of help you determine how likely it is that you would win the case if you appeal again. And that would determine whether they're able to take your case or whether they're not able to take your case. And even if they take your case, they don't really make you pay, I think, right? They would take like a percentage of what the EDD awarded you. Am I correct in understanding that?
So with an overpayment, because it was already paid to you, it's a little different. They do have a flat rate in some cases. So it's not, it doesn't,
got it.
It's not quite as variable. So call in, they'll be able to tell you exactly what to expect with that. I haven't been quoting an exact number for them because I don't want them to have an increase in prices and then have incorrect information spread out there or have anyone misconstrue anything since I'm not well versed in their pricing. Okay, do you want to read? Oh, wait, I just skipped one. I'm sorry. I pulled this one up. Let me do this one and then you'll do the next one. Sammy and Company at 907. Ginny, what did you submit for documentation? I submitted 2019 and 2020 full tax return as a PDF. So 2 separate documents as a PDF. I sent the entire thing over. I was asked to send in the date range between, I don't remember the exact months, but between 2019 and 2020. So I sent in both. I have not heard back yet. But if they deny me, it is due to error. So if I should be denied, then I would call into the EDD. I would ask to talk to a Tier 2 representative and then explain the situation. And they most likely would be able to fix it over the phone.
I'm curious. I probably should have asked this at some other point. How many pages were those tax returns? Do you have a rough idea? Was it like a lot? Like, was it a thick file? Was it a few, like 10? Because people always want to know, like,
how long is a tax return? Much? I don't know how many pages it is. It met their limit where like it did not exceed the maximum file size. So it was uploadable will be my answer.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Do you want to read this one?
Sure. John Gio's, I work at a movie theater for those of you who aren't as familiar with me and my channel. So I do YouTube a little bit less consistently now that I'm back to work at a movie theater. So John Gio is saying he went to the movies last night and it was awesome. Guys, movie theaters are pretty slow right now. I definitely feel safe in them and go see a movie because it's slow and safe.
Yeah. Okay. Will Dog, my tax preparer did my PUA, so I went to him for the verification. He said my 1099 was enough when I mentioned doing an affidavit. Yes, 1099 does suffice. It is good to go. I have confirmation from our media liaison at the EDD that yes, 1099 is good. Additionally, EDD has now updated their PUA. I can share my screen. They have updated their PUA work history website to include that. So you guys are going to see lots of tiny Jenny's and Shelly's for a second.
I'm watching intently, looking off because I'm learning how to use StreamYard. So Jenny's kind of showing me how that works.
Under documentation that you were self-employed, employment documentation, self-employment documentation. This area up here, tax returns or tax forms have been updated here. They have changed this information. I'm going to put this link in the chat. Hattie, can you add this to your link list? Okay, so this is the updated requirements. About, what was it, like 2 weeks ago, maybe, they had a news release that gave an update on PUA work history verification. In that news release, they released so many more details about the requirements and what they will and won't accept. They changed quite a bit, or more so, they got really specific. So they specifically state here that you can turn in 1099s. It says right here at tax form 1099. But then they go on to get more specific, and this is new. They state, I've done videos on it, but it's new within about 2 weeks. If your tax return or 1099 are for the same year your claim began, you must provide additional supporting documents to prove that you were self-employed before the start of your PUA claim. So if they're asking for a date range, and they give you that big range of a year, 2019 to 2020, and it spans 2 years, you're self-employed, you can't just send in 2020, even though they said that you could previously. Why? Because now they're saying they want to see for sure the year prior to being self-employed. So that's a major one that got changed.
And kind of, if you had a job offer, they want to make sure that the job offer was prior to the start date of your claim. They want to make sure that you had something before, ready to begin before you started collecting benefits.
Okay. Oh,
you lost your place.
I know. I don't usually
my
do
bad
that.
habits.
Oh, geez. Why did I do that?
Because
That's all right.
Shelly.
Okay, I know those are new.
I lose my place all the
time. Right?
time.
I'm distracted with Shelly here because I get excited. I did that one. We just finished this one. Okay, Kalika, do you want to read this one since I read the last one?
Sure. If we have already received the 1099-G from EDD, but not the letter of approval, can we assume everything is okay? No. So those are two different things. The 1099-G is what you're going to need to use to fill out your federal tax return to the IRS and use that as part of your total income for the year 2021. So that's all the 1099-G is letting you know how much money you received from the EDD. I do recommend, because this kind of comes up a lot. You didn't ask this, but I get asked a lot, if we didn't make enough in unemployment benefits to have to report, should we still report our 1099-G to the IRS? And I'm going to say yes for two reasons. The first is that, there is some loose talk of another Golden State stimulus. It may not be called that. If that did get approved, which it's not now, last time they used our taxes, we had to file taxes in order to receive that. So my guess is that they would do it similarly again this year. So that's reason number one. And reason number two is that as we get older and we start needing Social Security benefits, they take your 35 years of highest income. You don't want any years where you've reported $0 to the IRS, because that's going to lower your overall benefit there. So I would recommend sending it in. A lot of people have already done their taxes and they are still getting refunds, even though they're not forgiving the first $10,200 in tax money.
Yeah, which I'm sure will pop up again. I keep watching
me
you.
If I'm saying something weird.
No, you're good.
Am I looking?
It's just funny being in person with you, because I'm like watching you on the screen like I normally would. So I default to watching you here, but I should be like
right.
engaging with you in real life. Yeah. Okay, Debbie Hall, on computer, laptop. Well, is it Mac, Shelly, or Ginny, Microsoft Windows? Oh, it's mine.
Yeah. Jenny is teaching. Like, I'm not as tech savvy, so that's something that I'm trying to soak up. That's why when she opened up the StreamYard window, I'm like, don't know where you guys are seeing me looking, because I'm looking at her computer and like her fingers, like what she's.
Yeah, I'm tethered to a camera, a little Canon camera by a cord, and so it's got a complicated setup. So it's definitely mine. Okay, Megs Lynn at 9:10. We're only at 9:10. Okay. Had an appeals hearing after my employer fought the partial unemployment payments and now received a letter for an interview, but no determination of notice. Thoughts? Okay, so you had an appeal hearing after your employer fought partial unemployment payments. You received a letter for an interview. It sounds like they need to straighten something out before that. But what was the decision on your appeal? Because if it states that you had a hearing, it sounds like maybe you have not received a decision back yet from the appeal. Typically, from what I have gathered from Asaf from Pershing Square Law Firm, when they do an appeal, the appeal goes to the California Unemployment Board of Appeals, which is a separate entity than the EDD, so that it's a third party and they can be an unbiased judge on it outside of the EDD. Once that decision is made, then they hand it back to the EDD, and then the EDD continues to work on it. So you should have already received a decision one way or the other if the EDD is back in action with working on this. So I'm wondering if somewhere along the way you have missed the decision on that, because you should know. So I would contact the appeals board. In my most recent video on appeals information, I share the contact information for the California Appeals Board. So go over to my channel homepage and find that most recent info on that and contact the California Appeals Board. There's going to be a specific district, I don't know quite what they call it, district office, regional office that you're going to have to contact wherever your appeal was heard. Okay, we did that one. Karen says, I knew it. Okay, that's just Hattie. Okay, Mary says, hello. Hi, Mary. Mary says, you look beautiful.
Yeah,
that's,
we're going to totally credit Jenny's associate, Kat. She's
you
former
credit
moderator.
Kat for your face?
Yes, I am.
You
I
grew
definitely
that
am.
face from your
and she
credit your
chiseled
mom.
it with
Mama
makeup. And my mom. Yes, my mom helped as well.
Okay, Michael, thank you both for what you do. I've been watching both of you for over a year now. Thank you, Michael.
Yes,
we
thank
really
you.
appreciate the support. You guys have helped us. We both were on unemployment when my business went under at the beginning of the pandemic, when Shelly's business was furloughed. So we appreciate you guys helping us as well. Joseph, follow up. They lowered it to $1 because of Affordable Care Act being on unemployment for 1 week. I reported more income because I got a boost, got a better plan, and still paid $1. Okay, and that's referring to the covered California question that Shelly covered earlier. Do you want to read the next one?
Okay.
I think we already covered that.
So this is from Jeannie, and she says, hi, ladies. I wasn't working in 2019, but had an offer that got retracted in March of 2020. The EDD date range requested was from January 2019 through June of 2020. So if you still have that email or that letter where the job offer got retracted, you're going to want to send that in. Offers of employment count as acceptable documents that you can submit to the EDD. That's within the date range, so you should be good there. Here's one area where you and I differ just a tiny bit in our advice. I like to spell it out for them, like just in case like someone gets your 1099 at the whoever's opening the uploads, and they're like, oh, this person sent me their tax information instead of something unemployment related. Even though it's not a full affidavit, I like to include like a little paragraph, a little letter.
Yeah,
hi, I'm Jeannie. I am submitting my offer letter for work that was supposed to start somewhere in there. Unfortunately, as you can see, according to the attached letter, that job offer was retracted and I was not able to begin work due to the pandemic. Since I'm enclosing that on page 2. I just like to spell it out for them because they have messed up so much. I don't want them to make any like errors.
Yeah, that's a good addition. I like that. Okay, Jeannie at 9:13. I have the letter from the employer retracting the offer. Is that enough, or will I still need to request another signed statement, an affidavit from them? So if you have the statement from the employer, EDD now specifically states you need to make sure, let me pull it up. They state that you must have the business name clearly listed on there. Let me go down here where it says that you plan to begin employment. Okay, so here it is. Letters offering employment. These must be written, offer from the employer. They must show the employer's name and contact information. They must have a scheduled or proposed start date. They must have position information. They must show the location to which the claimant was scheduled to report on the first day of work. That is a lot of specifics that weren't there previously when they first sent out the list of accepted documents. If your work offer, was it an offer or was it retracting the offer? If your offer retraction letter does not have all of those specifics on it, then I would send that, but also obtain an affidavit from them that does have those specifics on it, because EDD has gotten quite detailed at what they will accept with that.
And if for any reason you can't get in contact with that employer, even though you have the retraction letter, looks like I need to make a revised video. You're going to have to write, if the people that retracted the offer doesn't have that information on there, you're going to have to put it on there yourself and fill out the affidavit yourself with that information. And in place of the contact information, if they've closed permanently, I would just say, you know, they're no longer open. I was supposed to report at such and such an address.
All right. Hi, guys, at 9:14. My timeline is 2019 to 7/2020. Can I send in only 2019 tax forms for proof of work to EDD? Yes, because they are asking you for 2019 through 2020. The year that you could not only send in if you're trying to prove self-employment work history would be 2020. Even though it's within, and I'm going to share my screen. There. Okay, so now let me scroll up here. They have changed exactly what they will accept. They state right here that if your tax return or 1099 or for the same year that your claim began, you must provide additional supporting documents to prove that you're self-employed before the start of your PUA claim. So 2019, yes, because they're asking you for 2019 to 2020. Don't only send 2020 though. That's the one that they're saying is not okay.
So 2019 would be A-okay.
Yeah. Do you want to do this one?
Sure. The GOAT. What if I just got approved for SSI disability, but it says I made 0 for PUA? Although I read the question, I have to be honest, I'm not as familiar with SSI disability, so I'm not sure how your income plays into that. What I will say is that Claimer now also dials the disability portion of the EDD if you need help, if you need further clarification from anyone there. But unfortunately, I don't know the answer offhand.
Yeah, same. Okay, let's see. We're at 9:14. Do the unemployment have a system that check for income? Yes. So if you're applying for unemployment, then they're going to reference your payroll information that is submitted to the EDD. Payroll from your HR has to be submitted to EDD along with tax information that they must pay in payroll taxes. So yes, they do have access to that. They will ask you for that on your application, and it must line up with what is provided and what is on hand. Snoop Y. This face makes me smile.
Snoop E. But your name also makes me smile. I love
is
that
it Snoop Y or is it Snoop E? I don't know.
I don't know. But I feel like the Snoop E, like
I think it's Snoop Y because there's a space. There's a big space,
I don't
right?
know.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, Patty. You want to read this one?
Sure. What if my deadline passed and I haven't turned anything in yet? Has anyone else done past their deadline? That makes me very nervous if you passed your deadline. I would, you know, I love that you're here in our chat, but I would hop out. I would get that ready. If the option to upload is still on your UI Online homepage, please go do that now. If that option is no longer there, I'm going to refer you to your assembly member. That would probably be your best bet. And my guess is that you're going to have a good reason as to why you didn't meet the deadline. But I wish you the best of luck. I'm sorry you missed the deadline. I haven't heard of anybody who's missed the deadline yet.
EDD did state
Did
though
they?
that they were going to give they were going to reach out again to people that did not turn in their information. They didn't say necessarily that that would include people who missed their deadline, but they did not say it. So hopefully
Yeah,
it's able to be rectified.
We were actually talking about that last night. And now we're looking at each other. We were actually talking a little bit about that last night because I was like, oh my goodness, the deadline for a lot of people, although it's different, is mostly in February, which is right around the corner at this point. And of course, they're starting to send out those letters. And of course, it's in batches. And I do tend to think like they're going to have to extend the deadline a little bit. I do tend to think they're going to work with people. Gareth, I don't know if I'm supposed to say his name. Well, that's I'll share the
name.
Well, never mind then. But my contact,
an unnamed
at the
man.
He, even though they're really specific in what they wanted, he indicated to me that they really do want to work with people. It almost the way he made it seem to me. I don't know if this was your case, but he made it seem like, we don't really want to be dealing with this either. Asking 1.4 million people to send in all this information.
There's so many.
So he seemed, even though they're really specific in what they want and they want it to be truthful and they want the claims that they're approving to be valid claims, they also seem to want to work with people and want to try and like if you give them something, that he seemed like they're going to try and work with you. So fingers crossed also that they extend that deadline. I don't see how they wouldn't be able to.
Yeah. Niners country, I see your recent comment. Yes, we're in this. It's not, he says, he or she.
We can high five again. We got it. I moved the whole table.
Oh no. And I almost missed it. I'm really
well,
bad.
we are here in person.
I'm really bad at high fives.
Me too, I guess. But not like, we're supposed to look at the elbow, but I don't think I want to try.
Elbow.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I don't know. That you look at the elbow and then you nail the high five.
But then I'm looking at the elbow and then I'm going to miss it.
I don't know.
I don't think
that's what I've heard.
I'm just awkward.
We are in the same room though, not in either. We've rented an Airbnb for the photo shoot and because I needed a place to stay while I drove up here. Yeah. So neither one of us are in our home filming locations.
It's the weird background with like dishes back there.
I do. She was asking me if I liked a neutral background. I do like the look of the neutral background. You guys should comment. Because I've been thinking about painting my blue wall after I've just branded everything with my blue wall.
I just got like a custom photo backdrop that matches her blue wall.
But
you are
like
not painting. Oh, Shelly.
Okay, you guys don't vote. I have to. But to be real, I'm probably gonna even if I said I was gonna paint my blue wall, I would procrastinate. It would be like a good another year before I get around to painting it. You would paint half of the wall and then leave it. And then... I'd buy the paint until it's so old I can't use it, and then have to buy it again if I decided I want to paint.
Okay. 960. I'm gonna backtrack because I accidentally clicked off of this one, and then I promise I will get yours. The goat. I do not have information on the SSI, unfortunately, and I'm not sure what you're referring with TAR. So I'm really sorry. Unfortunately, I can't answer that. We tend to focus on regular employment, PUA, not so much SSI.
But I do have a comment. So I think those two programs are going to interact because even with contradict each other, because one of the requirements in order to receive any kind of unemployment benefits is that you needed to be willing and able to accept work. And if you were receiving disability payments, and I understand that you're just now getting approved for them from 19 and 21, and so you were trying to have some income while your disability claim was coming in, but it may get a little tangled at the EDD because if you're disabled and not able to work, then you would have needed to check that question as, no, I'm not able to accept work. And that's where the problem's going to arise. But don't worry too much about that. Hopefully they just won't give you disability payments for those weeks, or they'll let you keep the PUA payments. Hopefully they'll be able to work something out so that it works out. And if for any reason it doesn't, again, that might be a situation where Pershing Square Law Firm could advise you during that free consultation.
Drop the link.
Please drop that link for everyone. And if if that doesn't work, your assembly member is also going to be a good resource if that gets tangled. But it may get a little tangled, but don't worry. There's going to be people to help you sort it out.
Yeah, Niners country. What city are you in? You thought it was a camera trick?
No, it's not.
We're in Sacramento, near me.
We could both grab like this. We could both touch this thing.
We can hold hands. Or maybe something like that.
And trust me, I am like not technologically savvy enough to figure out how to hold hands as a camera trick.
Neither. All right, hi guys. I only have 2019 tax forms and about 5 emails of a job I was requesting information from, showing I was trying to apply. A few other job applications too. Would 2019 tax returns plus those be good enough? Okay, so it sounds like when I answered your question previously, I did make an assumption that we were trying to show proof of self-employment. From this comment, it sounds like this is not proof of self-employment, right? Let me reread it. I was requesting information from trying to apply for a job. If you only had job applications, then sending your tax return is not going to show work history, right? Because you did not have prior employment, you did not have self-employment. Sending your tax return is not going to verify your work history or plans for work in that case. So if you're trying to provide that documentation that you were applying, then send the actual applications that you submitted in whatever form in as big of a quantity as you have. So if you actually sent over emails, if you sent over through a third-party site, a job resume site, a board, etc. If you had any correspondence with employers, then send that over, and also send over an affidavit explaining it. So no, don't just send your taxes if you're trying to prove those attempts to get employment. Okay, Maddie Z at 916. Can an employer retract their denial for your unemployment? They could potentially, if they choose to retract it, if they find that it was perhaps an error or a misunderstanding. Additionally, you're gonna, if they deny it, they disagree with it, then the EDD is going to have to investigate it. So they're going to talk to them and they're going to talk to you. If based on both of those conversations, then it is denied, then you would then appeal the decision and have a hearing on it in front of a judge. But yes, they could potentially remove that at any point in the process, but I'm not sure if you then would still have to undergo an appeal because it was already submitted as denial would be my question. Okay, do you want to do the next one?
Sure. Matt, what is California's tax ID number for UI 1099G? I can't file without it. Thanks, y'all. I certainly don't know that offhand, but it should be in the upper left-hand corner. It should tell you exactly what box to find that in on the 1099G. So it should be right there on the document. Do I have an example in my?
I don't know, but it should be on there. All the information that you need to file taxes is on the 1099G. So just UI Online, go to Payments, and then in the top area, click on the 1099G, and it will be there. But the EDD does technically have until the end of January to provide that 1099G. So if you can't locate it because you have not yet received your 1099G, check at the end of the month. All right, Edward at 916. Hello, everyone. Finally, Jenny and Shelly, hello. Thank you. Yeah, we're excited to meet. I was very excited to see Shelly walk through the door.
See, Shelly, I wish we could have done this a little sooner. Like, at the height of our channels, I think people really wanted this, but I'm so glad to be able to do it now, and I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it also.
Yeah. All right, Michael. Hi, Michael. Michael says, I'm so excited to see Shelly here live in person. This has been years in the making, and it's finally happening. I thought the live was at 7, like usual time. No, I advertised it in the 9, but I'm glad you're here. All right, scrolling down. All right, Mariella. Hi, I was under PUA from 2020 through September 21. Documents submitted and approved for 2020, but disqualified for 2021. This information shows under claim history, under status, shows disqualified all of 2021. Okay, so if the documents that you submitted were rejected, or if you did not submit documents, you will see from January 2021 and onward marked as disqualified. Why? Because the legislation that enacted this rule and this requirement took place December 27th. So it was effective at that date and onward. And that first week was in the new year. So that's why you're seeing those specific payments marked as disqualified. So what should you do? Call into the EDD first. It kind of depends what you submitted. Did you submit documents that you know for sure should have been approved? Either way, call into the EDD. Ask to speak to a Tier 2 representative. You're going to wait on a hold line, and you're going to let them know that you recently submitted PUA work history verification documents, and now you are disqualified. You believe it to be an error. Can they look into your account, let you know why you were denied, if you were able to provide additional documents, or if they're able to explain why and see if it is an error. In many cases, they're able to fix this over the phone. If that doesn't work, then you're going to need to go undergo the appeals process next.
Sometimes calling a second time helps. Lots of people are like, the first rep I talked to was so rude and wouldn't even help me, but I called a second time and that rep helped me. So if you have the patience for calling a second time to the EDD, that might be worth 2 calls.
Yeah. Do you want to do the
Sure.
one?
I'm submitting documentation, tax returns from 2019. It has a different address. Is that going to be a problem? I wouldn't think so. Tax returns do generally have your social security number or your taxpayer identification number on them. So I would think that shouldn't cause you any hiccups, but it is the EDD. So sometimes things that shouldn't cause hiccups do. Again, if you're not sure at all, on this one, I'm a little bit hesitant. You could maybe include a line about that to the EDD when you submit it. Just say, hey, just please note, this is an old address for me, but as you can see, the social security number is the same. But the reason why I'm hesitant is like maybe they won't even notice that and they'll just push it right through. And if you bring it to their attention, then they're going to notice it and it might cause them to question it. So kind of up to you, but I wouldn't think that shouldn't trip it up, but it's the EDD. So I can never say with certainty.
Okay, we are at timestamp, not for the timestamp we're at is 9:19. We're running a little ways behind. So I might need to start skipping around a little bit. We're running behind. We always can't get all of the questions, but we try to get as many as we possibly can. So if we do skip over you, make sure that you re-ask your question every 10 minutes. All right, Maddie C. My old employer has fought a portion of my claim and had a hearing 3 weeks ago. Instead of a notice of determination, got a letter saying I have an interview. Does a quitting for good cause qualify me? Okay, so if they fought your claim, you already had a hearing, and you got a letter saying you have an interview. So they're kind of investigating it more, it sounds like. Does quitting for good cause qualify you? You want to take it?
Yeah, because I've been on the employer side of this. Sorry, I'm long-winded. This is not helping get through the questions. So it sounds like the interview might be to determine if your cause was actually good or not. Maybe they didn't go into enough detail about that during the appeal hearing. I will say that I read a statistic, and it's over in 90% of the cases, the EDD is going to side on the side of the employee. And I am telling you, where I work, we document everything to the T. We could show that we terminated someone with cause, but the employee, he did have to fight it. He had to appeal it more than once. But he won the case, and that happens in more than 90% of the cases. So you do your interview, but it's probably there's a 90% chance it's going to go in your favor.
Okay, Abel at 9:20. Lilies, you guys have been great. Help all the time. Thank you. I finally sent an affidavit and a letter with proof that I was going to start a job. My documents were approved. I'm so relieved. I'm really glad to hear that. Okay, Karen, tax return Schedule C 2019 was 3 pages in a PDF. Your Schedule C. Yeah. I don't know how long the whole tax return is though. Someone was asking that. It was you.
Because people ask me, they're like, well, how much can I upload?
My brain can only hold all the questions for so long. Okay, Michael, I'm excited to see Shelly live. Okay, I got that one already. Okay, great. Thank you, Michael. Okay, 920, advice on content of reason for appeal to send with appeal form. Got disqualified for PUA. Plan to be employed with no offer letter. That wasn't specified on EDD site at all when I applied in 2020. Okay, so this is difficult because you had plans to be employed. You did not have an active job offer. It's going to be difficult to prove it in documentation. In my Zoom Q&As with Asaf from Pershing Square Law Firm, he did mention that in this case, an appeal is a good thing. Yes, it can feel very stressful and take a long time, but it's good that a third party, a third neutral party is going to look at the case as opposed to the EDD, which obviously doesn't go very well when they review your documents. So advice for content of reason of appeal. I can't advise you with that. I would advise you to contact Pershing Square Law Firm, get a free consultation from them. Hattie can drop the link in there so that you can get that advice from an appeals attorney. They're going to talk to you and answer some questions over the phone. You don't have to hire them based on that. You can, and they can help you, but it's a good way to get some free information from an expert. So I would contact them. I don't want to advise with that, just like because I don't want you to enter in something that I state and have that be the reason why you are delayed, denied, etc. in the process. So contact the appeals attorney for a consultation on that. Okay, I'm scrolling down. All right, do you want to do this one?
Sure. Roman, was the penalty period for unemployment waived at the beginning of the pandemic? And if I didn't get paid but certified, should I be owed that money? The penalty period. So if you were serving penalty weeks, that is one of the reasons why they put people on a PUA unemployment claim. If you certified, should you still be owed that money? Potentially. And in that case, I would go the route of an assembly member and I would say, hey, I was serving penalty weeks. It was my understanding I should have been eligible for PUA unemployment benefits while I was serving penalty weeks. I never received the funds for that. Is there any way that you can help me get back that money from those early weeks that I feel I still am entitled to? And hopefully they can help get that for you.
Yeah, okay. KFLA. Ginny, did you know how I can donate through Super Chats? No, so I've disabled, thank you for asking, that's really kind. I've disabled the donations on my chats because I just want to get all the comments from the chat box. But thank you for asking. That's very kind of you.
He runs an unemployment channel in Korean, and he's fairly local to me. They just did a like a booster clinic kind of thing and testing and everything. That was Monday.
Oh, that's really great. Just a heads up, you guys, I am about 30 minutes behind in the chat, so I'm going to start skipping ahead a little bit here and there, grabbing questions since we can't get all of them. If we skip over yours, please don't get angry. We're trying to do as many as we possibly can, and you can re-ask your question every 10 minutes if we don't get it. Okay. Let's see, is it me or you? I think it's me. I'm finally getting my phone interview next month after waiting since May 2021. How did everyone's interview go? Did you get your pay afterwards if it went through? Okay, so if you were finally getting your interview, but you're still waiting on your pay, as long as you've been paid at least once on your unemployment claim previously, meaning it's not a brand new claim, and you've been waiting over 2 weeks and that's stuck in pending while you're waiting for an interview, you should call in to your assembly member and ask if they can help you to get conditional payments, because they will be able to get the EDD to, in most cases, to push through those conditional payments to you while you wait for the interview and the decision from the interview. So number one, do that. And then, yeah, take it.
I just want to make sure that we get Chrissy's comment.
Okay. Oh, I see that. Yeah, I know what that is. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so here is the thing, and I feel like genuinely awful about this. There are people that I don't know how they do it. They basically like steal your profile picture. That was a fake Shelly. So what happened is someone appeared to be me on my own channel and responded to Chrissy, and then was like, hey, here's an email. Please DM me, and now you have to pay for my help. I am never going to ask you guys for money for my help. I am so short on time. I'm very rarely, unless I specifically say like during a live, hey, so-and-so, please reach out to me. And even then it would normally be on Instagram because they don't have the time to help people. But I feel terrible that happened. I hope that you didn't send him money. I did delete the comment because it wasn't actually my comment. It was someone pretending to be me with my channel name. And the only real way that you can tell is the real Shelly will have like a dark black like oval around it. And even though it was my picture and the name was Shelly's Millions, it wasn't me. And I feel really awful about that, but please be careful with your information and just know that I would never ask anybody for any money. And yes, I deleted that so that no one else would potentially get taken in by that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Erlen. I appreciate it. Thank you, Edward. Okay. Hold on. All right, I'm jumping. Am I get SXSW at 9:32? Am I getting an unemployment refund? I got I'm saying 1,500 unemployment refund. I'm not sure what you're referencing. Perhaps you're talking about the refund of taxes from last year based on the tax relief. Some people are still waiting on 2020 income taxes unemployment tax relief, which was the first $10,200 of 2020, not this year, but last 2020 tax year's unemployment benefits were the first 10,200 were untaxed. Many individuals are still waiting for the IRS to refund the amount in taxes that they saved based on that. The IRS is extremely delayed. There are still people waiting on that, unfortunately. There is no tax relief this year. Now, are you getting a refund? I think that's what you were trying to ask, what I gathered from that. So I'm going to assume that that's what it was. Andrew, hi, Andrew. Andrew says, hello. Both your channel since 2020 will continue to move forward. I'm moving forward. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. We really appreciate that. Okay, Sheena. Oh, wow, this is a lot of comments. Okay, part one, I was disabled in 2019 and wanted to start self-employment in 2020, but wasn't able to because of COVID, because my health made it impossible. My affidavit explained this. EDD denied it, said it wasn't enough. Tier 2 rep couldn't change it. Okay, she said to appeal, and then said they will respond, sending copies of invoices for any sales I made because I sold things to in cash to friends. So I made money and have invoices, but no 1099. Any advice for what I could do to add up my chances for approval? Chances for approval, this is coming from my self-employed background, would be to file income taxes retroactively if you want to get square with the IRS. If you earned, and you might not have earned this amount, but if you did earn a net income of $400 or more in the tax year, then you're required to file that income as self-employment income on a tax return. So if you did not earn that amount, then you will want to provide everything that you have. You're going to show receipts for purchase of materials. You're going to show bank statements where you purchase those materials to actually show that it lines up with the receipts. You're going to show any website or online presence that you have. If you have a website, if you have a social media page devoted to that business, if you have a business license, which it doesn't sound like you do, but if you do, you can create a business plan, etc., and submit that as well. You're going to get a signed affidavit from any of your customers that purchased from you, as well as you providing one yourself. So that would be my feedback on that.
I want to chime in. I'm going to have a little bit of a different opinion. I do want to always encourage everyone to be as honest as possible for whatever applies to your situation. However, you stated in 2019 you were disabled. Were you receiving any disability benefits in the year of 2019? Because then keep in mind, PUA, a lot of claims started in 2020, but the EDD is looking at employment for the time period prior to when your claim started. So if you go back and you did have more than $400, you should report that if that's the case to the IRS. But I just want to be honest with you guys, and I'm not like a tax professional or an attorney or any of that. I only know this is my mom's had disability. If they go back and you report earnings during 2019 and you also receive disability payments, then you could get hit from the disability side and they could say that they overpaid you in disability because you were working. So be honest, but just know that your case might become a little bit tangled. And if it does, seek out the help of an assembly member or check out the Pershing Square law firm and see if they can give you that free consultation.
Okay. Do you want to read this one?
Sure.
Even though you just talked.
Sure. Maybe I'll read that and then you can answer it.
Reading a lot of
Okay.
them.
Crystal says, hello. If my documents are not approved and I only received $467 in PUA in 2021, will I have to pay back only this or also my UI payments? I think I was placed on PUA automatically for a few weeks. So in this case, I would send in the documents they're asking for, like your taxes. But in that case, I would say, hey, I'm sending you what you're asking for, but I was one of those people who was temporarily placed on PUA by a representative while you guys were waiting on that PEUC programming to be in place. That's the reason why I was receiving PUA benefits. I should have been regular UI the whole time. Please don't send me an overpayment notice. Let me know if you have more questions. I would just explain a little bit about why you're sending what you're sending. If you are traditional unemployment, you're gonna have something that counts. But again, I would send them a brief explanation about why you're sending what you're sending.
Yeah. Okay. Elpida at 9:37. I was asked to prove that I was planned to be self-employed or employed at some point between January 1st, 2020 and July 11th, 2021. I was employed until February 7th, 2020. Is my 2019 and 2020 tax forms in W-2 enough? Yes. So if you are providing the correct dates, they are asking for 1/1/2020 through 7/11/2021. Now, so 2019 isn't necessarily what they're asking for. They want that 2020 tax return. So make sure you include 2020. You can also include 2021 just to be safe. You had traditional employment. It was not self-employment. So yes, you can send in those exact documents in those years. Okay. Val, thank you. Jeannie, just wanted to make sure if the offer letter and retraction letter doesn't have a specific date on it, would a separate short statement written by me giving them the date suffice? I had to reread that one.
That's a follow-up question to one of the way earlier ones. If you can get it from the employer, that's always going to be better. That's what they really want. And they actually want all those things that Jenny said, like the location where you were going to report to work and all of that, the date you were going to begin, all of that information. But if the employer just won't give it to you, you can't reach them anymore, then yeah, you're going to have to not send it, right? So try and give them what they're asking for, but tell them the reason why you're sending it instead of the employer, and then hopefully that will work.
Minus Country is asking, who is the invited guest?
Mm-hmm.
Which
for those, your channel is much more successful than mine because you have put in so much more work.
You often put in a lot of work, and your channel is great.
Yes, that I did. Yes, thank you. But I mean, I really, I've said this on my channel. Like, I really respect your hustle, and that's part of why I wanted to hire you to as my business coach, so that I can kind of see and be around the energy of someone who's and she is buzzing around this room, guys. It might be because she has kids. I don't know. Because she didn't drink any more coffee than I did, but she's moving quick. She's not wasting any time. And I really needed to be around that and kind of see that. But I am Shelly's Millions. My channel is Shelly's Millions. I'm just Shelly.
You've not changed your legal last name yet.
No, I
could change it.
Yeah, I don't think so. That would be But I also think it's super cute that like your last name is Silver and my channel name is Millions, so it's kind of like money related. Anyway, so I have my own YouTube channel. I talked about unemployment a lot at the same time Jenny was. And we really like developed a friendship, even though we had never like met in person. And so we're continuing to develop that friendship, but I've also hired her professionally. She's doing great and I'm learning a lot. But yeah, that's who I am.
And so to answer your question, Shelly is visiting me. She drove up from LA and I'm near Sacramento.
Yes.
Well, we're in Sacramento right now, but I'm nearby. Okay, got it. Got that one. No, it's not a camera trick. What city are you guys in? I just answered that. Okay, I'm at 9:40 in the questions, you guys. I'm running about 20 minutes behind. So please stick around and we will get to as many questions as we can. Unfortunately, we are having to skip and pick and choose here and there. So if we don't answer your question, please re-ask it every 10 minutes. We'll do our very best. Okay, we got that one. Lena M at 9:41. How much a person had to earn in 2019 and 2020 in order to qualify for PUA? Okay, there was no minimum amount to qualify for the minimum of PUA, which, oh, sorry, I'm like touching your leg. So in order to qualify for the minimum amount of PUA, which was $167, there was no minimum earnings amount, because many people who qualified for PUA may have had a loss on their taxes, because if you started a business, oftentimes you'll have a loss the first or even second year, etc. So what you had to qualify was that you had to either previously be self-employed, have plans to start self-employment, or you're trying to be self-employed, or you must have qualified on one of the other several reasons in order to qualify for PUA, which there are several. So there's not an exact minimum amount. Would that be sufficient?
I'm not sure. Oh, sorry.
I
zoned out. I'm so sorry. I'm not sure what that's in relationship to.
I don't know either. That's why I was giving you a weird look, because I couldn't figure it out. Chung, can you give us more information? I do not see the start of your question, and I believe that I'm missing a part 1 somewhere. So please re-ask again down below. Sorry, I wasn't meaning to put you on the spot. I just didn't know where it was coming from. Northern California. Yes. Okay. KF, is it? How do you pronounce?
I think it's KAFLA.
I've seen your channel before.
Those are initials.
But I don't know how to pronounce it. Okay.
Sorry. Those are the initials for the organization that he works with. And something that I forgot to mention earlier, in addition to the great advice that we're about to read when we read this comment, he also is like an assistant or an intern to an assembly member. So a lot of times he has like some great, and he's in my chats a lot. 9 o'clock must be the sweet spot for him. I'm so glad to see him in here. And he's giving good advice again, which is... sure. Sorry. Wait, am I reading it? Okay. Anyone who is pending a recently filed SSI claim will have to go through ID verification through ID.me. If you haven't received an email yet, you will soon. And in addition to doing that for SSI, it is my understanding that there's plans to have that for the IRS as well.
Thank you. Richie Z, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, I'm scrolling down. What is this? You flew up to Sacramento. I drove. She drove, you guys. I know. And it's better that she did drive, because we had to cancel our first attempt at a meeting because I got COVID and had to quarantine for like 3 weeks. So had she had a flight, it would have been a lot more complicated.
Oh, that's true.
Okay, Christy, why are they only requesting documentation for some point during the dates on your request for documentation notice? So this really bothers me that the EDD stated very clearly in the notices some point between, and they gave a date range prior to your unemployment claim. But recently, about 2 weeks ago, they got a lot more specific, and they said, actually, if you were self-employed, ignore that date range, because we must see the year prior to your unemployment claim. So even though they said one thing, if you were self-employed, it's really important. Please make sure that you send in the year prior to the start of your unemployment claim, even though it specifies that full duration. That's specifically for those who are self-employed. Okay, I did that one. We are at the 9:43 timestamp. Thank you. We really appreciate that. Snoop Y, thank you. Okay, I'm scrolling down. Okay, I did that one. This one. Do you want to read that one?
There's some good names in the chat, by the way, right now.
Dr. Pepperoni. Oh, we'll get that one next.
And there's Bad Bunny. There's like a lot of good. Okay, so Coconut says, what if we have no documentation? Since I was self-employed and earned less than $400, I also don't have receipts or letters or emails. Would I write an affidavit or a business plan? So I would recommend going the affidavit route. I'm going to need to update that video on the new requirements that are listed. I'll make it more specific with what they're wanting, what I, in my opinion, think that you should include. And the reason why you wouldn't write a business plan now, although I may try and get out a video on that as well, is in theory, you would have needed to have the business plan drawn up prior to the start of your unemployment claim. It's not really something that they're like, oh, you can just go ahead and retroactively write your business plan now. They really kind of wanted that business plan in place. Maybe you only have some like loose notes or some sketches, maybe if you wanted to type those up into a more formal business plan, you could go ahead and do that. But I think in that case, if you don't already have the business plan drawn up from before your claim started, I think I would lean towards writing an affidavit.
Okay. I'm going to do this one. Do you know when the EDD is going to start answering the phones or take an appointment? EDD is still difficult to get in. I looked up the call data about 2 days ago because I was writing an article on Medium for it. And they are only, according to their data, how reliable is their data? I can't tell you. But according to their data, they state that they are answering roughly 1 in every 3 calls. I do not believe that. You believe that?
No, not at all.
Believe that at all.
I was going to say, we used a prop earlier for the photo shoot as a little piggy bank. And I was going to say, I wish we had it that I could grab and say when pigs fly, and I don't mean to be sarcastic or dismissive about it, but they just do not seem to be able to get it together.
Yeah. So number 1, Hattie is going to drop the link to contact your assembly member. Contact your assembly member if you cannot get through to the EDD. It is free to contact them. They will be able to act as a liaison between you and the EDD in most cases. So contact them. Next, you can use a third-party service if you want to pay to contact the EDD called Claimer. Hattie can also drop that link, but that is a paid service. So assembly member is free, so I highly recommend doing that. Yeah, and unfortunately, any other phone tricks right now are not functioning. If you speak another language, then select a different language line because those most oftentimes do get through with a lower call volume than the English line. Okay, I'm scrolling down.
It's too bad, Bunny, because I like that screen name. Oh,
Bad Bunny's just complaining that we didn't do her question.
Oh, dear.
His or her question. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, as I've gone over a few times, it can be frustrating if your question gets skipped. So I understand that, but we do have a large volume of questions and we are getting as many as we can, but we do have to skip around. Yes. So please re-ask it every 10 minutes and we'll do our very best to get as many as we can.
We hopefully got to that one. I don't remember whose it was that had a multi-part one, but we did do a multi-part one. So I hope that was hers.
It wasn't that one, but it's
okay.
Right.
Okay.
It's right. All right. She said some unkind things. It's all right. My moderator. We do the best we can. We're human. We're sorry. We're trying. All right. Julia at 9:45. Just FYI, Pershing Square probably too busy and for free consultation. Been calling them and left contact number with no return call. Okay. They most likely are very busy because there is a large volume, but they are dedicated to trying to help everyone that calls in with consultations. So yes, I'm sorry you didn't receive a call back. That's not typical for them. They usually are pretty on top of it. I would give it another try if you want to try to get that consultation from them and just understand that there are a significant amount of people having similar problems right now with regards to the PUA documentation, overpayments, etc. So I think they are experiencing a big volume.
Do they have an email as well? Like if you go to their website?
Yeah, if you go to their website, then you can contact them via email as well. All right, do you want to read this one?
Uh-oh. Miss Money says, hey, Shelly, found a culture. I had a question if I was getting unemployment, and they said before they take your whole tax return this year. I'm having a little trouble deciphering the question, so I'm not sure how to answer it.
ish Lutz. You're not too late. In fact, we're running about 20 minutes behind in the chat. We're just now getting to this. But no, you're not too late. El Toro, hello. Ms. Money. Oh, there's more.
I see the middle there.
Yeah, I skipped one. Okay.
Okay, so I had a question. What if you were getting unemployment and they say you owe? Are they going to take your whole tax refund? They can. They can garnish your entire, or I'm not sure if it's called garnishment, but they can withhold your entire tax refund if they determine that you do owe them an overpayment, which is why if you get an overpayment notice, first I would recommend appealing it. Then if you don't win your appeal, you could appeal it one more time. If you still don't win, then you're going to want to request an overpayment waiver. If they don't grant the overpayment waiver, at that point, I would try and arrange a payment plan, because not only can they withhold your entire tax refund for multiple years until you pay it back, and the attorney that you talk to at Pershing Square, the interest rate is really high. Once they start taking your tax refund, it's going to take a long time to get it paid back, potentially. I don't want to scare anyone, but you can also make a payment plan arrangement with the EDD. So I do recommend trying to get out ahead of the situation and reaching out to them and arranging a payment plan, because they can take your tax refund and they can garnish wages from your employer up to, I think, 25%. And you want to try and avoid that.
Yeah. Debbie Hall, Jenny, all better from COVID, no cough. Yeah. I still have a very, like every once in a while, which I was Shelly coming in, I was like, I tested negative twice. Do you want me to wear a mask still? I don't mind. And she was good. I'm negative. I'm in the clear. I was at home for like over 3 weeks and not going out anywhere to make sure that I was good for Shelly. So yeah, I'm pretty much all better. Thank you for asking. Okay, Olga at 9:50. Hi, Jenny. EDD said my documents were not enough to send an appeal letter with more documents. Should I send in some receipts from private classes, or should I go on and file taxes for 2019, or both? Okay, so my answer is kind of two-part, okay? If you are self-employed, right? You were self-employed, yeah, classes. Okay. If you were self-employed, you're required to file a tax return with the IRS. This is their rule. If you earn a net income of $400 or more within that tax year. So if you are above that, technically you should get square with the IRS and file that, yes, if you did not file that before. Now, if you did not earn $400, you can still file a tax return if you would like to have that as documentation. There's no like minimum to have to file that. If you choose not to file income taxes, I want you to be careful, because penalties and interest, should the IRS find out that information, it's tax evasion, so it causes a lot of problems. But should you not choose to file a tax return, should you send in receipts from private classes? Yes. You should not. Yes, you're going to need to file the appeal within 30 days, but the first thing I want you to do before you do that, do this right away. Don't wait on this. Call into EDD, ask to speak to a Tier 2 representative. Tell them that you sent in documents. You did not specify what you sent in, so I can't tell you why it was denied or if it could have been an error, but call in, check and see why they were denied. And if it was an error, then they are able to fix it over the phone. Now, many have had it denied an error, so it's worth calling in. Additionally, they can, in some cases, send the upload documents link back to your UI Online dashboard, and you can, in some cases, upload more documents right away. If that doesn't work, then make sure you do file the appeal within 30 days. Provide additional documents such as your receipts, your bank statement showing those deposits, your business license, any online paper trail of your business. So you say classes, do you have a website? Do you have a platform that you're using to teach through, etc.? That was a long-winded answer. Okay. Do you want to do the next one?
This is from Artemis. How do I claim work history in the cannabis industry, especially if I never got paid, even though it was supposed to be legit? So Like a legal shop in California would probably give you a W-2. However, maybe it sounds like you were like helping with some other portion of the industry, like maybe growing or trimming or something like that. I don't have a deep knowledge of that. But if you have any text messages that have like the date on there saying, hey, Artemis, we're expecting to see you at 6 a.m. bright and early tomorrow for your job. Hey, Artemis, sorry that we're not able to pay you because we got robbed. Or any kind of documentation in writing. If you can contact the employer and they'll write a statement for you with all of the new requirements on it, that's going to be the best case. If they won't, you are going to need to supply that yourself. Don't just like ignore it. Get that information together, explain why you're not able to provide what they're asking for from who they're asking for, and hope for the best.
Okay, El Toro at 9:51. Nice to see you two ladies hanging together. I just want to say thank you for both all that you did for many of us throughout the unemployment shenanigans. Kept me sane. Thank you. We really appreciate that. You guys have helped us as well in many respects. All right, Richie.
Oh, we're totally wearing different shirts.
No, it's different.
Mine's like a V cut.
Mine is like an emerald green.
And mine's black. I have green on my pants.
Different shirts. We do have a twin dress though.
We do, but we didn't wear it. We talked about it, but it didn't happen.
Not gonna do that. No, twin day. But this is different.
Yeah.
It's different.
Black and V, and she's got a scoop neck.
One is see, now they're debating our
they figured it out.
Our attire. Okay, Crystal. Hello. If my documents are not approved and I only received, we already did this one, so I'm gonna move on. Okay, scrolling down. Kenneth
must be having a heyday with both of us in here. Oh.
Is Housing is Key doing anything to speed up the process? This is really fun. Oh, sorry, my chair's uncomfortable, Shelly.
I'm sorry. You wanted to sit on
closer.
Different chairs and we didn't switch them out.
Okay, Housing is Key is really frustrating for you guys. And I think the worst thing is that there's nowhere to get more information from. There's not many places that can really help to push things forward. With EDD, they published lots of news releases. There's lots of news content on it, etc. Different people to contact. With Housing is Key, I have a foot cramp. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be distracting. With Housing is Key,
I think you're trying to get me to say that I'll rub your foot, but that's like a different kind of video.
No, I have an aversion. No foot touching.
Back to serious.
So with Housing is Key, they have been so delayed. I have so many subscribers who stated that they have applied back in March, April, and they are still waiting. It's scary, you guys, and I'm really sorry. I have tried to follow up with Housing is Key. My contacts there, they have not replied. I'll continue to try to follow up there. What I want you guys to do, and I've put a video out on this recently, is that I want you guys to contact your assembly members on this. I had someone recently today, and this popped into my comments, that said, this doesn't help. They called in and it was a waste of time. They didn't do anything for me. Ignore this. Something along those lines. And I understand you're frustrated. It's a very frustrating program. But in some cases, they have been able to help my subscribers, not in all, but in some. But what it also does is it also tells the assembly member's office, if they're receiving a massive volume of calls about this program, it allows them to be a voice for you in California legislative process. It allows them to speak out against it, to try to hold them accountable. That is how some changes, not enough, but some changes have come about with the EDD, is from the assembly members being very active and outspoken about this. If you're having problems with Housing is Key, please contact your assembly member, and Hattie is going to drop the link to that so that you can click on that, locate your assembly member. Even if you don't call them, then email them, please, and let them know that this is a huge problem. And I'm very sorry you have not received that. All right, Jason at 9:55. What is the name of those lawyers for free consultation? That is Pershing Square Law Firm. And Hattie, my moderator, is going to drop the link in the chat for Pershing. Okay, Debbie Hall at 9:55. Shelly, Miss Theater tonight. Is YouTube so much better and more fun?
I don't miss the theater at all.
This is being broadcast.
This is way more, that's okay. They don't tell them where I work. You know, I missed. They've emailed me. Oh well, they know. No, I've emailed them a couple times today. That we were in communication, so I don't miss them. I would love to have more time away and actually grow to miss them. You know, I'm glad to be away.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Exactly.
Absence makes Shelly go. Create YouTube videos with Jenny and get distracted. Okay. Let's see. Jose Ruiz, 5JR, 9:55. I'm from California and wondering if everyone got their third stimulus check. I seem to have not gotten mine. So there were two federal stimuli. Two federal stimuli, right? That's how you would say it. Okay. The plural. In addition to that, there's the California Golden State stimulus. There is no third federal level stimulus. Golden State stimulus was a $600 stimulus payment that you may have qualified to receive. There's Golden State Stimulus 1, Golden State Stimulus 2. You would have qualified for one or the other, but not both. And there are income restrictions you have to have made under your AGI must have been between $1 and $75K, and your wages must have been between $0 and $75K. So there's no third one. So I think perhaps you're talking about Golden State stimulus. If you are talking about Golden State stimulus, the last round of checks was dispersed approximately January 11th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So we said at the same time.
We did.
But they do state to allow 3 weeks for them to then actually have it reach you. Now, 3 weeks from January 11th will be the 1st of February. So you're still waiting on that. If that is the one that you're talking about, then that would unfortunately be normal. Okay, I did that one. I'm going to scroll down because we are like 30 minutes behind. Once again, if I miss your question, please re-ask it since we can't get all of them, but re-ask it every 10 minutes. Okay, do you want to read this one?
Sure.
And then,
do you know if people are getting paid in the class action lawsuit, YIC versus Bank of America? I am not familiar with this. Are you?
No, I'm not familiar with the current status of the class action. No, I don't. I'm sorry. I have to look that up and research into it and see exactly what's going on. So I'm glad you brought that up because that's something I haven't looked into recently. Sorry, I don't have an answer on that. Okay. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's very kind. All right. Harakiri at 10:02. Are amended returns that still haven't been received okay to submit? The original one didn't have self-employment. Okay, so if you're submitting an amended return, when I asked the EDD if an unsigned tax return, because people that e-file don't have like a signature on their tax return document, it's submitted electronically, and they said that those documents were fine. I would anticipate that that would be fine. But I can't say 100%. The EDD does not seem to cross-reference with the IRS necessarily. So as long as you amended it, you have submitted it, my opinion is that it should be okay. Do you have a different opinion?
No.
Okay.
I think it would be okay.
Okay. All right, we did that one. Okay, do you want to do that one?
Sure. This is from Brody. Initially, people only receiving $167 a week were not required to provide documentation to prove employment or work history. Has this now changed and everyone is required to provide documentation? So yes, and you are correct. And that's why some people are only seeing those 2021 payments switch to disqualified, because they weren't asking for this. It changed in the legislation or the stimulus package that passed, so that anything after December 27th was going to require that proof. And then new claims that filed after a certain date had to do it pretty much right away when they got their claim, and everybody who received benefits after December 27th had to go back and do it. And that's mandated by the federal law. And then, of course, currently, there are no more PUA unemployment benefits, so there's not any new claims taking place for that.
Okay. Ish Lutz at 10:03. I'm not sure what document you're asking for, so I want to see what you're looking for specifically because I might have a visual to put on screen. If anyone can see this, can you send me a snapshot of what the things they have to fill out look like? A visual would help you. Let me know in the chat box and I'll look for your comment because I might have a visual on hand. I have a folder of several visuals from work documentation, but let me know what you need specifically.
And if you don't, can I like how done is my website? Like can I share that and plug that? No. Okay. It might rhyme with Smelly's Billions.
So if you go there, it just says coming soon.
Okay, so go. So,
I have it on a hidden page right now.
So go to Shelly's Millions, not Smelly's Billions. Go to Shelly's Millions, bookmark it, because one of the projects that my business coach over here is going to have me do is write up something for you guys to kind of give you that visual. And I think it's going to be the affidavit that I'm just going to have that as a product that you can download. It's going to be free.
And making tomorrow.
We're making it tomorrow. So tomorrow there's going to be a visual. I think that I should be able to make this so that you guys can literally print this out or email it to your former employer or the person who was going to give you a job and just say, here, please fill this information out to me and get it back to me ASAP because I need to report it to the California EDD in order to not receive an overpayment notice for my PUA benefits. So tomorrow on Shelly'sMillions.com, I didn't make the website. Jenny Silver's making it for me.
Yeah,
it's not ready.
We gotta put all your photos and make it look nice.
So bookmark it today. I don't know if it'll actually be ready tomorrow, but by the end of this weekend.
Shortly.
Yeah.
Okay, Sheena, you received no disability payments. Okay, this is a follow-up on a prior comment. Thank you. Thank you, Sheena. Okay, let's see. Peace and namaste. Is there a certain amount you must have earned to not have to pay back the EDD money you received? Okay, so the only individuals who have to pay back unemployment or pandemic unemployment money are individuals that either, number one, don't actually qualify to receive benefits, but were awarded benefits anyway in error or due to a false statement that you may have made either intentionally or unintentionally. If you were paid more or in total at all, benefits that you should not have technically received, then you will be obligated to pay those benefits back. Additionally, people that are receiving PUA work history verification requirements requiring you to prove your work history or your plans to start self-employment. If you do not respond to that, you do not send in documentation, then you technically are not qualified to receive benefits after December 27th, 2020. So essentially starting with your 2021 payments. If you don't send that verification, or if that verification is denied, then you will be required to pay those benefits back. Now, if you are denied, you are issued a notice of determination, then you are going to be issued a notice of overpayment saying exactly how much you were overpaid. If you disagree with that determination, if you did submit documents, or if you believe there was an error in your documents, etc., if you disagree with it, if you disagree with a false statement penalty, then you will need to file an appeal. The appeal paperwork must be submitted within 30 days of receiving that, mailing of the notice to you. And if you win your appeal, then you will not have to either pay back the benefits, or they may waive the false statement penalty. So there's a big variance there. But as long as you qualified for those payments, you provide all required documentation, then you don't have to pay back the EDD. It's not a certain income amount. It's did you qualify and did you provide the documents needed? Thank you. I really appreciate that. El Toro says you're great, Shelly. Thank you.
You're a rare jewel. Yeah, no, you're amazing. And like that, honestly, that
I'm
is
laughing
part of
at your like nice comment. Thank you.
No, but I mean that's part of the reason why I wanted to like hire you and like work with you is like come and see like the work ethic. Yeah,
My chaos.
It has
my,
nothing.
like-
No, she's super organized.
But like you've seen like the trail of like photo gear that I leave everywhere,
lot
all
of
the
equipment.
cords and cables and memory cards and like
I was like, do I have to
mess.
duck? And she was like, yeah, because it's already plugged. And I was like, okay, well, here I go playing
I like
limbo
broke
under
a
the equipment.
glass while I was
Okay,
shooting
okay.
and I just like swept it in the corner and kept going.
Okay.
There's a
It's
lot
called
of
being a
chaos
professional
over here.
right?
All right. VQ and Jewish. Sorry, I can't get it. 1008. Still waiting for an answer. Unfortunately, this is the comment that I see from you. Please re-ask your question right now in the chat box, and hopefully I will be able to get to it. Unfortunately, we can't get all the questions, but we try to do as many as we can. Okay. Brody, I'll read this one. 1009. I'm an actor and gig worker for years prior during the pandemic. Actors sometimes work for no pay, credit, volunteer experience. Do these establish work history if I have affidavits from films I worked on? So unemployment benefits are paid out to claimants because they paid income taxes on that amount. Now, traditionally, if you're a W-2 earner, then your employer must pay payroll taxes. So in their payroll taxes, they pay into unemployment to the EDD. Payroll taxes, if you're self-employed, you do not pay into unemployment via those taxes. You pay self-employment tax, which is Social Security and Medicare. Now, because unemployment underwent the pandemic, self-employed individuals did qualify for pandemic-related benefits, but that is not typical. So if you were earning income, paying taxes on that income, then you did qualify for PUA. But if you weren't earning any income, therefore you didn't pay taxes on that income, then you would not qualify for PUA. So if you weren't actually being paid, you weren't actually having that income that you were counting on, you didn't have a loss of income, therefore the EDD is not replacing the income that you didn't have. But with that being said, if you had plans to have a paying job, a paying gig, paying contract work, etc. So maybe you had volunteer work, but later they were promising that it would transition into a paid position as an actor, a paid gig, then that would qualify you, because that transition, where if they had given you correspondence promising that your internship is now going to turn into a paid job on a film, etc., then that would qualify you.
Additionally, you mentioned that you've done that for years prior. I know a lot of actors have agents or they have like a manager. If you were still with that person and still hoping that they would find you work prior to the pandemic, that might work as well. Hey, I was still with Central Casting Agency. They had previously got me jobs. I was still enrolled in their service and still wanting to get jobs from them. But due to the pandemic, everything shut down and they were not hiring for as many extras or lead actors or whatever you were doing. That might work as well.
Okay, Casey at 1014. Thank you for your latest Housing's Key video. That was an eye-opener, as I have been standing up for them, but I have been sidelined as many others. Many people are very frustrated with that program. I'm really sorry that it's taking so long. Please contact your assembly member if you're waiting on rental assistance and it's been an unreasonable amount of time, because the assembly members need to hear this feedback, even if they aren't able to actually help you, which they might be able to, but I can't guarantee that. It still sends those calls to their office to alert them of the problem. They track the number of calls that they receive in each different topic. If they have a topic that keeps coming up, then they pay more attention to it and speak out on it more and investigate it. Okay. Let's see. Do you want to do this one?
Yasmin says, I was approved and everything. I'm just retired for hearing all these stories about them asking for documents. I was not self-employed.
Okay, maybe it's not a question. Is it? Just
looks like there might be some follow-up.
Yeah, maybe you need to, let's see, there it is.
Good vibes. Unemployed since June 2019. In February, I was out of the extension ever since then.
I think we need some clarification, Yasmin. So if you're able to clarify your question, we'll be on the lookout for it down below as well. Okay, Miss So-and-so at 10:16. We are quite a ways behind. So once again, you guys, we are skipping through questions. If we miss yours, please re-ask it every 10 minutes. Miss So-and-so, I got paid via PayPal, but owners don't want to file my tax forms. What can I send for verification docs to the PUA? If whoever is paying you via PayPal pays you $600 or more, then they are required to issue you and file with the IRS a 1099. It's an NEC now. It's no longer a 1099 miscellaneous. It changed in 2020. So they have to file that in accordance with the IRS. If they aren't doing that, that is not okay. So if you're trying to obtain that document from them and they didn't issue that, then I would try to obtain that from them. And I would let them know those rules, and I would point them to IRS stating that. If you Google, and I recently put out a video on this where I show the exact page. So if you go to my channel homepage, you click on the 1099 for, it's called How Do I Create a 1099 for My Contractors? I show the documentation there. So if they will not issue that, then what can you send? It depends on your field, your industry, and what you're doing. You're going to send correspondence, your conversations back and forth with whoever is paying you. How did they schedule you? Did you talk over email, text, anything in writing? You're going to send any form of copies of those deposits in your PayPal. So send that documentation from your PayPal statement, marking exactly what it is. You're going to send any documentation of your business presence online. And you might not be a business, you might be a contractor only.
I'm not going to be able to get
what
that
are you showing?
Close
Oh,
is that
it's
the
okay.
video? That's what you're going to look for, right?
It.
Sometimes people are visual learners. That's what I do. I just pull it up and I'm like, it looks like this.
Additionally, you're going to want to write out an affidavit explaining the situation and sign it yourself. You can also ask this individual that paid you to create their own affidavit, even if they're not willing to do the tax forms, which they should. If it's that amount, then they should send an affidavit to you as well. Okay.
And you mentioned screenshots maybe of PayPal
with
the dates visible.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Do you want to do that one?
Brody, you have talent agency contracts, receipts for classes and workshops, call sheets, forms submitted to jobs, links to my actor job pages on websites, and job offers from directors for film credit. I would send what you have and explain why you're sending it. If the talent agency will write you the letter, if the directors will write you a letter, that is going to be better and more substantial. But to me, that those would be enough to prove that you were looking for work or expected to be working in the year. But I would, again, if they won't fill it out, you will need to do like the affidavit. In the affidavit, I would say, I am also including on page 2 my talent agency contract that you can see was valid, the receipts for the classes that I took during the time period you were asking for. Submit one of each of those and tell them why that's what you're sending them, and hope that it will work.
It's 10:45.
And you still have stuff to do afterward.
I have a lot.
You have a lot.
So because Shelly's in town, you guys, and we're working on things for her business, I have to edit a full set of photos tonight and make her website, etc. So How are you doing? Are you okay for a few more?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
just
we're
don't want to
gonna
like
do-
wear you down.
That's okay. So I think we'll probably stream for maybe 15 more minutes. Is that too
Sounds good.
late for you?
No.
11? Okay.
No, that's going to be a real late night for you though. But see her work
It's all
ethic.
right.
I need some of that.
Okay. I was fueled by calzones.
And we
That
also had
was
a little
good.
coffee.
Yeah. And I'm gonna edit those photos while I drink
let's
that
read
IPA
Brian's
in
question
there.
before you're over.
Yeah.
You
you.
sent in the info in the beginning of January. You were disqualified. You have paid and filed self-employment taxes since 2005. WTF is going on? Thank you. Probably just a mistake on the EDD's part. Again, the first thing you're going to want to do is call them. You may need to speak to a tier 2 rep. If you sent them tax information from the dates they were asking for, it should just be a simple fix for them to do right over on the phone with you so that you don't have to worry about anything else. If the first rep doesn't help you, ask for a tier 2 rep.
Yeah.
If that tier 2 rep doesn't help you, a lot of times people are saying that calling a second day, speaking to a different tier 2 rep has been helpful. And if that fails and that can't help you, then go ahead and file the appeal and submit the documents again. Just say, once again, I am submitting these documents, which were on the list of acceptable documents. If you have anything else to submit that would further help solidify the validity of your claim, send that in with the appeal. If those documents are sufficient, they actually won't ever go through the step of like the appeal hearing. A lot of times, even just sending the same document again or the additional documents with the appeal are enough for them to be like, oh, we should have approved this from the get-go. And they'll notify you that your documents were accepted. Sometimes I'm also hearing the letters crossing, like they're not getting the disqualified letter.
Yeah.
And I'm telling people to look at the dates on those, because even though sometimes the letters are like, one will say the documents you submitted did not meet the requirements, but you've already found out from the appeal that they were. Anyway, look at the dates of those letters if you get conflicting letters.
Yeah. Okay, Yasmin at 10/26. Unemployment started 7/2019. I was not self-employed. Self-unemployed. I think you mean self-employed though. I got all the extensions. Are they going to ask me for documents? If you were traditionally employed, you received unemployment and not PUA, the only case where you would receive a request to verify your work history documentation would be if you received PUA as a brief extension. Many people may have received PUA for a few weeks without knowing it. If a claim representative or someone at the EDD applied PUA as an extension to your claim in the interim before that PEUC extension was applied from the stimulus bill. This did happen in several cases. So for those of you that receive traditional unemployment and are wondering why the heck you're receiving this requirement, it's because PUA was applied to your claim as an extension so that you didn't have a lapse in your benefits by an EDD rep. Should they have technically done this? They really shouldn't have technically done that, but many did because they were trying to make sure that you got paid. So you're going to send in tax documentation showing your work history if you receive that. In most cases, you probably won't receive that. Okay, we already did that one. Okay.
Sammy and Company, are personal checks from clients good proof of payment? How should I show documentation from banks? So again, probably the best document you could send is a tax return. That's what they really, really want. But if you don't have that, yes, bank statements are on the list of acceptable documents. I would send them a letter explaining why you're sending bank statements or personal checks. I know that bank statements are. I'm not sure about the personal checks, but send everything you have. And then again, keep in mind that if you earned more than $400 in self-employment after expenses, that you should have filed a tax return, and you can still do an amended tax return so that you can submit those documents.
Okay, DR, and the timestamp I'm at is 10:31. I am self-employed designer. I made $379 in income in 2019. Did not file. Is a 2020 tax return, 2019 DBA, signed contracts for early 2020, and affidavit enough to send. Should I file a 2019 tax return? Okay, so you did not meet the threshold where you are required to file tax returns. So you're okay in the eyes of the IRS with that. Now, when did your claim start? They're going to want to see documentation from the year prior to the start of your unemployment claim because you were self-employed. So if your claim started in 2020, then you need to send 2019 documentation. So a 2020 tax return isn't going to satisfy that. So it depends when your claim started. Now, 2019 DBA will satisfy that. That is, it went through a government agency, either your county clerk recorder in your city, most likely in most cases would be who files that. Yes, a DBA is accepted. It's on their listed documentations. Yes, and that's for the proper year. So yes, send that in. Signed contracts, yes, but also send your DBA because that's the one that's a little stronger because it went through government organization. 2020, they're looking most, if your claim started 2020, they want to see 2019. Affidavit, yes, send in an affidavit along with those other documents. Don't just send an affidavit, send in the DBA, definitely send in your contracts, but you will be fine with just the DBA, but it's better to send in a lot.
And if you do just send in the DBA, I would do like a little short paragraph. Hi, this is DR. To prove the eligibility for my PUA unemployment claim, I am sending you my 2019 DBA that falls in the date range you asked for and is on the list of accepted documents to prove the validity of my claim. Sincerely, D. Spell it out for them. That's kind of my motto for the EDD. Spell it out for them. Make it real easy for them.
City Hall. Will you both or either or be on a regular live schedule for us watchers with the eyeballs?
This is where we're both here in the same room together. This is a one-time thing. I'm not sure if we'll be releasing like some sort of video about this process. There's been some like loose attempts at vlogging I'm
a bad vlogger. There may or may not be a video on.
Yeah, there may or not. I took a couple of still photos, and like you guys will certainly see the results of her work from the photo shoot today. And maybe in the future, if it's needed, we're not normally in the same location. At some point in the future, might we do like a annual Zoom, like a yay, all of this is finally over? Maybe. I don't know. No plans for anything in the future. So this is a one-time thing with the both of us in person as far as I know, but plans can change.
All right, Marcos, I don't know what you're asking about, my friend.
Maybe he's just like, what's going on? There's two of you.
We have skipped over your question. And yes, unfortunately, we can't do all of them. Re-ask it every 10 minutes. And we're getting as many as we possibly can. Okay, KL at 10:38. 2019, I have no work history. Stay at home mom. I have tax return filed with a spouse. I applied with the EDD and reported 0 earnings. I was active in job seeking, planning to help my father as well as a caregiver. Okay, so this category is hard to prove because if you had no prior employment income, no plans to start self-employment, then you might not have an easy time finding documents for this. You were actively job seeking. Was there any platforms where you listed a resume or where you created a profile that you can show that you were a member since a certain date or that you replied to posts, etc.? Did you create a resume? If so, what is the date timestamp on the creation of that resume so that you can show not only the resume itself, but show the actual date that it was created and the data on that, which you can access by organizing it by details and viewing the properties of the document. Did you send out that resume and have any correspondence with anyone? If you were actively job seeking, most likely you have emailed it to various contacts or submitted it through work search sites. So all of those correspondence, screenshots, etc., in addition to a signed affidavit explaining the situation. Yeah, go for it.
My video, which may need to be a little updated, actually, though, kind of uses that, I had to stay at home because my child's school was closed. I'm not sure if that was the reason why you were, or if you were always a stay-at-home mom. My video on that, if you search Shelly's Millions affidavit.
Hattie has the link. Hattie can post the affidavit video in the chat.
It's kind of similar, the scenario I go through in that video. Additionally, in terms of being a caregiver for your father, I know a lot of times there are like official state programs that you go through so that you're actually paid for doing caregiving, even if it's for a family member. So if you went through the training, if you had begun the training for that program during the time period that they're asking for, you might be able to submit that as well.
Okay, we're going to do about 4 minutes more of questions, and then we're going to be all done for the night. It's 11. Hattie, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my God. And Hattie, I see her in the comments, like reminding everybody to like the video, which I normally do when I'm in the chat. So if you guys haven't already, please like the video.
Okay, Christy. Why are they asking PEUC, I think this means PEUC claimants, who were transferred to a PUA claim briefly for documentation of work? I thought if you were PEUC, you were automatically considered working at some point. So it's kind of a by default, you must fulfill this obligation, because if you were receiving unemployment or PEUC and PEUC had lapsed between the time when the next stimulus bill went into action, there was a time frame where some claimants were moved over to PUA very briefly so that they could still collect benefits. If you received PUA after December 27th, federal law requires that you provide work history documentation. So EDD can't go around this. So you do need to comply with that for those few weeks. So just send in your tax returns. It does seem redundant. Wish they would cross-reference things. But unfortunately, you do have to comply with that.
And if you guys ever see me chuckling in the background, I'm never like laughing at your question. I'm like, how can the EDD?
The failures of the EDD.
Because you're totally right in that line of thought. Like they should be, like you just said, they should be able to cross-reference.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna add it here. Okay. These are a bunch of question marks. Asking 1031. I don't know what that means. Okay. Do you want to do that?
I think
one?
that.
Did we already do that?
I think
one?
that's part of like a longish thread. I started my
Okay.
unemployment June 2019, regular claim. February 2020, my unemployment came to an end. I was on this EDD. Are they? Yeah, that's a long question. And I know we're trying to move through. So I'm not sure.
Okay, let me read through it. I started unemployment June 2019, regular claim. February 2020, unemployment came to an end. I was out in the EDD extension automatically. Are they? That's a repeat. Thank you, Hattie.
Okay,
we
thanks.
already answered that
Okay.
one. Okay, Scotty Crook. Hi, Scotty. We like seeing you pop in. Thank you for your support.
Well, this is good and quick, I think.
Okay, perfect. All right, 1050. Is there a specific appeal letter, or can I write one of my own? Want to get it?
Yes. So there's going to be a form if the documents that you submitted, or if there's any reason why you need to appeal a decision that the EDD has made, there's going to be a form with like your denial letter that they send. And so you're going to fill out that specific appeal form that they include in the correspondence in the mail with you. And if it's the appeal for PUA, proof of work, proof of self-employment, proof of employment, if you have additional documents that would further solidify the validity of your claim, you'll go ahead and submit those with that as well. But in terms of the actual appeal form, that's going to be a form that is enclosed for you to send back.
Yeah. Okay, John at 10:55. Oh, I'm going to do two last questions. Okay, so EDD accepted my Schedule C by saying it met legal requirements and no further action is needed. Will I receive a formal letter of clearance? That is your formal letter, that it met the requirements, no further action needed. I don't like their wording because they say at this time, kind of like they can always contact you. They technically have 3 years after you've collected your benefits that they can reach back out to you if they need other things. But yes, you are all set. That's great. Good job. Okay. Debbie Hall, the lighting is good. Thank you. What are we using? I have 2 in front of us. I have 2 umbrella continuous lights that are through a diffusion screen. And then I have a ring light in front of us set up. Okay.
And I wore littler glasses, so I wouldn't have googly eyes as much, but I'm doing it. I'm putting it right at the okay.
I'm going to do this is the last one for the evening. All right, Robert at 10:56. I asked my accountant to amend my 2019 tax return to claim $10,500. It's $10,200 in cash. Ooh, no. Oh, sorry. I made a mistake. I was reading that as the tax forgiveness, right? Let me see my mistake. All right, let me start again. I asked my accountant to amend my taxes to claim $10,500 in cash from DJing. She declined, claiming it was too risky and I might get audited. Do you think that is risky? That really surprises me that an accountant is stating that you should not claim self-employment income. That is a red flag to me because that is tax evasion, not claiming that self-employment income. That worries me, and I would get a second opinion. If you're trying to claim self-employment income, you could get audited, but it's best to claim the income as you were required to do than to have a tax evasion case against you, which could be audited at any point in time in which you were guilty. So I would get a second opinion from an accountant in that case. That surprises me that they say that. So please talk to a different accountant and get their opinion as a second opinion.
And I kind of want to comment on this just briefly. I have personally not been audited, but somebody that I know pretty well, they were. And you know, nobody wants to get audited, but he said it wasn't really that bad. Like, he said that he was like trying to claim 100% of his cell phone bill as like a tax return. And they were like, okay, look, we know that you didn't just use your cell phone only for business purposes. We know that at some point, like you went on Amazon and bought something for your house. So how about we say 50%? And he said, okay. And like, that was it. And it was kind of like that. They do go through line by line really carefully, but you know, unless you're really purposefully doing tax evasion, it shouldn't wind up in like jail time and you know, I mean, I don't know, but he said it wasn't really that bad. And it was more like, you know, they were just questioning, why did you claim this much? He explained his side and they said, well, how about we lower it to 50%? A couple of items like that. And he owed a little bit more and then it was a done deal. So I wouldn't necessarily be scared of the audit, I guess is my point.
I'm sorry for my interrupting sneeze.
How dare you? How dare you sneeze?
I was like trying to hold it in. It resulted in awkward faces and an inappropriate giggle at a serious topic moment.
It's okay.
Okay, you guys, we are all done for the night. Let me read a few of these that are not questions. Thank you, Debbie. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. She's been in here almost the whole time. Oh, my mom
Christy,
also
thank you.
said that we did a great job. She texted me good night and that we did a great job tonight. She said, great job, ladies.
Millions. Mama millions. Okay, Kenneth, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, you guys. All right, so go over to Shelley's Millions. Please subscribe to her channel if you aren't subscribed already. And
thank you for agreeing to do this for me.
Yeah,
it's I'm learning a lot. I'm really glad that we were able to like finally come on together in one spot because I think people have been like, you guys should do it together. And we're like, we live in Northern and Southern California,
right?
So
yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye. Bye. I'm just like hanging up a phone call.
We'll see you next time.